So in this question, we're told the curve with equation y is equal to 3 multiplied by 2 to the power of x meets the curve with equation y is equal to 15 minus 2 to the power of x plus 1 at the point P. And we're asked to use algebra to find the exact x-coordinate of P. So what we want to do here is find the point of intersection between this equation and this equation. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to equate these two equations and then use algebra to solve for x. So therefore we have 3 multiplied by 2 of x. That is going to be equal to 15, and then we subtract 2 to the power of x plus 1. So we need to now think of a strategy where we can work through this to solve for x. So our first step, which we're going to do, is we're going to take this term here, so our 2 to the power of x plus 1. So we'll just put a star here and we'll work on this at the side. So we know that 2 to the power of x plus 1 is going to be equal to 2 to the power of x multiplied by 2 to the power of 1, which is equal to, just kind of writing it out fully there so we can see how the exponent rule works. So this is actually equal to 2 to the power of x multiplied by 2. So we can substitute this back in, so we'll therefore have that 3 multiplied by 2 to the power of x is going to be equal to 15 minus 2x multiplied by 2. So what we want to do is we want to continue working with this and solve for x. So we know that we're going to have to do something to do in logarithms and ln's and exponentials, because we need to get our x down from here to being kind of in the normal position, if you like. So the question is, how are we going to do this? So if we divide both sides by 2 to the power of x, we'll get rid of it here, and then just have one term here. So just writing that down, we have, so we'll divide by 2 to the power of x, so we'll have 3 is going to be equal to 15. Then we divide that by 2 to the power of x, and we have this term here, the 2 to the power of x cancels out, and that leaves us with negative 2. So just write in here, what do? We divided by 2 to the power of x on both sides. And now what can we do? Well, we can take this 2 and get rid of it by adding 2 to both sides. So this is going to leave us with 5 is equal to 15 divided by 2 to the power of x. So then if we multiply both sides by 2 to the power of x, we'll then have 2 to the power of x multiplied by 5 is equal to 15. And if we then divide both sides by 5, we'll then get 2 to the power of x on its own. So this gives us 2 to the power of x is going to be equal to 15 divided by 5. So therefore, what's this going to be equal to? Well, we'll then have that 2 to the power of x is going to be equal to 15 divided by 5, which is 3. So we've got to this stage here. This is a good stage. So we have our x term here. So we need to have a think, what can we do to isolate this x term on its own? So we need to effectively get rid of this 2 and bring the x term down. So if we take the ln, or ln of both sides, we'll have ln 2 to the power of x, and that's going to be equal to ln of 3. So we'll just annotate in here, to go from here to here, we took in ln of both sides. And then we need to have a think, is there anything we know? So we know we have log laws, and if we have the power rule, so we know if we have ln a to the power of b, then that is equivalent to saying b multiplied by ln a. So what happens is our exponent here comes down to here. So we can apply this in our case here. So what does this leave us with? We can bring x, our power, down to in front of the ln. So we'll have x multiplied by ln of 2, and that's going to be equal to ln of 3. So now we have our x here almost isolated on its own, and we can divide both sides by ln of 2, which will get us to our final answer. So we'll have that x is going to be equal to ln of 3, and we divide that by ln of 2. And therefore, we've found x, and that is the exact coordinate of P. So just annotate in here that we divide both sides by ln of 2. So what is this x value? This is going to be the x coordinate of P. So therefore, we have completed this question. Taking a look back at it, it was worth 4 marks. So we pick up our first mark at the stage where we knew to equate the two terms. So that was at this point here. So that was kind of having the initial strategy right and working through it. So we then receive our second mark for beginning and working through with the algebra to get to the stage where we had 2 to the power of x was equal to 3. So that's where we picked up our second mark. We then pick up our third mark for then using logarithms. In our case, we've used ln, and for getting that into the stage where we had an expression for x. And then we pick up our fourth and final mark for having this expression correctly. So we'll annotate in here that we've picked up 2 marks at this stage here, and we've picked up 1 mark for correct working, and then we get our other mark for correct answer. And that's where our 1, 2, and then third and fourth marks were available on this question.